Today's lesson is chapter 3.2, but first of all we're going to just review 3.1 really quick, okay? So a function, remember, is something that has one input for every output. So if I push one of these big buttons on a Coke machine or a soda machine, I'm going to get one soda out. So one input, one output. Okay? So here's a kind of a machine, right? It goes in, something happens to it, and then something comes out. So for example, this one, let's say I have a number that goes in there, and when it's in there, it gets multiplied, my number is x, okay? It gets multiplied by 2, and then add 3. So if I put in a -1, and I put that in over here, okay, so I'm putting -1 in the machine, I end up with 1, right? Because -2 plus 3 is 1. If I put in a 0, then I would have 2 times 0 plus 3 gives me 3. So if I put in a 0, out comes a 3. If I put in a 1, okay, so 1 goes in here, I multiply it by 2 and add 3, then I get 5. I'm hoping that you see a pattern here. So 0 or -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to keep skipping every 2, right? So this is 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Okay? So that is a function right there. All right, so what else can we call what goes in and what comes out? Okay, well for one, what we put in is our x value. This is our input. Okay, it's also called the domain, and it's also our independent variable. Okay, our y value is our range. It's also our output. I did it in a different order than over here. It's also our dependent variable. Okay, so these are just a few names for the same things. Okay, lastly, what is the vertical line test? Remember that the vertical line test is when if you have a function, say I have a line going through like this, and I take a vertical line and it only hits one spot at a time, then it's a function. So if I have something like this, this is not a function because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. It hits it in 2 places. Okay, so that's just a quick review. Oh, here's some pictures. I forgot I put them in there. So here are some examples of functions where the vertical line passes. And these are examples of things that aren't functions because the vertical line test doesn't pass. Okay, 3.2, linear functions. A linear equation in 2 variables, I forgot to start my timer. A linear equation in 2 variables, x and y, is an equation that can be written in the form y equals mx plus b, where m and b are constants. That means that they're just numbers. Okay, so here's an example, a couple of examples. So y equals 3x plus 2, this is in that form, y equals mx plus b. M is 3, b is 2. And this is also y equals mx plus b, where b is -10 and m is 2/3. Okay, so are these in the form y equals mx plus b? Well, it doesn't look like it, but I can move things around so that it is in that order. So if I subtract 3x, basically what you do, if you're moving terms from one side to another, basically you're picking up that term you're putting it on the other side and you're changing the sign. Okay, so I'm going to take this 3x, I'm going to put it over here, but I'm going to change the sign. Okay, so that's y equals negative 3x plus 6. This is y equals mx plus b. It's in that form. Okay, this one, I can take my negative 9 and bring it over here and make it positive. Okay, and if I divide everything through by 3, I have 2x plus 3 equals y, and then I can just flip-flop these. So y equals 2x plus 3. And there's my y equals mx plus b. Over here it's a little bit different. I'm going to add 3y to both sides, okay, because I've got y's on both sides. I have 4x plus y equals 5x. Then I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, and I end up with y equals x. That doesn't look like it's in y equals mx plus b form to me. However, if I look at it like this, where y equals an invisible 1, x, plus 0, then it is in that form. So y equals x is a line. Okay. What do you think, this is a silly question, but what do you think the graph of a linear function looks like? What do you think it looks like? Well, the answer is in this word right here. It's linear. It looks like a line, right? So these are just a couple of examples of that. We've got a couple lines there. Okay, what do you think the graph of a non-linear function looks like? Well, it's something that doesn't look like a line, right? So here's some examples of that. This is a parabola. It's a quadratic function. And this is an absolute value function right here. This is what absolute value functions are pointy. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to stop this video here and we'll go on in the next one.